I'll never forget the morning I walked outside and saw it. A massive red sign hammered right into my front lawn, screaming in bold black letters, "Non-compliant property. Subject to foreclosure." Neighbors slowed their steps, whispered, even crossed the street like my house carried a disease. And in that moment, I realized Karen wasn't just trying to find me, she wanted to make me the example. Act 1. The first strike. I'd only been living there for a week. The house was my uncle's place, tucked along the lake. Quiet, peaceful. At least, it was until my doorbell nearly broke off its hinges. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Not polite, not neighborly. The kind of pounding that says, "Open up or else." I opened the door and met her. Karen Carmichael, hair sprayed into a helmet of blonde, lips pressed tight, gold rings flashing as she shoved a thick packet into my chest. "So you must be the new owner," she snapped. "Good. I'm the president of Lakeside Estates, HOA, and you'll be joining immediately. These are the bylaws. These are the fees. No exceptions." I blinked. Good morning to you too. I'm not sure She cut me off. "This isn't about what you think. It's about rules. And if you refuse, I'll fine you. I'll call the police. Believe me, I've done it before." Her rings tapped the packet like a judge's gavel. Clink, clink, clink. I steadied my voice. "Call the police for what, exactly?" "For not paying into something I never agreed to." Her jaw tightened. She leaned forward. "You don't understand. I decide who agrees. Nobody crosses me. Nobody." Then she slapped a bright red notice on my door. 7 days, she hissed. After that, the fines start rolling. And trust me, I win in court. Her heels cracked down my path like gunshots. And just like that, my coffee went cold. That afternoon, I noticed an older neighbor, Frank, lingering near the fence. White hair, tired eyes. He gave me a look like he wanted to warn me, but wasn't sure if he should. "Don't take it personal," he muttered. "Karen, she does this to everyone. She fines, she sues, she shames you until you either pay or move. Most folks just give up." I asked him if she ever came after him. He looked down, shame in his voice, over a bird bath. "Cost me $3,000 in legal fees. My wife begged me to let it go. So now, I keep my shutters beige and my mouth shut." I could see the defeat in his shoulders, and I thought, that's what she wants. A neighborhood too scared to fight. By the end of that week, I had 4 violation notices. Trash bin placement, lawn too long, vehicle parked improperly, nearly $900 in fines. And every neighbor I passed looked at me like I was already guilty. Act 2. Escalation. One afternoon, I caught her crouched near my driveway, snapping photos of my truck. "Afternoon. Karen," I said calmly, "something I can help you with. Documenting violations." She chirped, bracelets jingling. "Your truck is parked too close to the sidewalk. That's another $100. I pointed. "Sidewalk ends 5 feet before my bumper. You know that." Her smile was thin, sharp. "The HOA decides compliance, not you." She turned on her heel, and I felt heat rising in my chest. That night, I sat alone at my uncle's old desk. Violation notices stacked like a coiled snake. For the first time, I felt the weight pressing down. Maybe Frank was right. Maybe I should just pay. Maybe it isn't worth the fight. I stared at those papers, thinking about selling, running, disappearing. And then I remembered the desert. The army, days when fear was thicker than the air in your lungs. I remembered the drill sergeant who told us, the enemy isn't always carrying a rifle. Sometimes it's paperwork. Sometimes it's a smile while they cut you down. I pushed the notices aside and opened the HOA charter Karen had given me, page after page of restrictions. Lawn length, fence colors, even approved holiday lights. And then halfway through I saw it. One line, buried in legal jargon. Applies only to properties incorporated into the Lakeside Estates HOA as of June 12, 1989. My uncle built the house in 1971. I remembered him bragging it was grandfathered out of every new zoning law. I tore through his old filing cabinet until I found it. The deed, edges yellowed, seal stamped. Parcel recorded long before Karen's HOA ever existed. My chest tightened, not with fear, but with the thrill of knowing Karen had no authority over me. And then I found something else. Another folder, tucked behind tax records, leases, titles. Turns out, my uncle owned several parcels around the lake. Some sold, some rented, And one was Karen's own house. The realization hit like a jolt of electricity. The woman threatening foreclosure on me was living in my property. Act 3. The Showdown. Karen must have sensed something was slipping. She called an emergency HOA meeting at the clubhouse. Flyers everywhere, urging neighbors to attend. When I walked in, every seat was full. The banner at the front read, "Lakeside Estates HOA, preserving our standards." Karen sat in the middle, pearls gleaming, folder thick as a brick. Well, she sneered. "Our guest of honor has arrived." She began her speech. "This homeowner has violated numerous bylaws, ignored repeated notices, accrued thousands in fines. If he continues, we will pursue a lien and foreclosure. The rules apply to everyone, no exceptions." She slammed her gavel. Crack! Silence fell heavy. I stood slowly. "Are you finished?" Her eyes narrowed. "This is not a debate. You're here to answer your violations." "Fair enough," I said, and I pulled a slim folder from my bag. "Let's start with this." I held up a single sheet. "This is the original deed to my property dated years before your HOA even existed, meaning my house has never been part of Lakeside Estates HOA. You have no authority here." Gasps rippled through the room. Karen's smile faltered. That can't be right. Your records are wrong." I cut in. "I have the county seal to prove it." I let the weight of that hang, and then pulled out a second folder. Thicker. "And here's the best part," I said, spreading documents across the table. "Because over the years, my family bought several parcels in this neighborhood. Some sold, some rented, and one of those," I tapped the page, "and is the home you live in." "Karen." The room froze. Karen blinked, pale. "What?" "That's a lie." I kept my voice calm. "Deliberate?" "No. You signed a long-term lease. My uncle held the deed until he passed. I inherited it. You've been paying rent through a management company that reports to me." Silence. Then whispers. Then laughter. Frank, sitting near the front, let out a low whistle. "Well, I'll be damned." Neighbors who had shrunk under Karen's stare for years now sat straighter, murmuring to each other, nodding at me. The board members shifted uncomfortably, one even closing the folder in front of him. Karen's face blotched red. She slammed the gavel again. "Enough. Sit down. I am still president of this HOA, and I demand order." But nobody listened. A wiry man in a fishing cap stood up. "With all due respect, Karen, you fined me 3 times for leaving my kayak by the dock. My wife stopped planting flowers because you didn't like the color. That's not leadership. That's bullying." A woman with a toddler raised her voice. "You threatened to evict us over a swing set. My kids cried for days." Voices piled on Christmas lights, shutters, trucks, flags. Years of resentment poured into the open. Karen's gavel cracked again. Desperate. Pathetic. "Order." I said order, but the magic was gone. Frank leaned back, arms crossed, grinning. "You hear that? Karen, no one's listening anymore." Her eyes darted, searching for allies. The board sat silent. One finally spoke. "Karen, if what he says is true, maybe we need to revisit how this board operates." That was it. The betrayal she never expected. She reeled back, spat, spineless cowards. But the crowd only leaned away. Disgusted, I stepped closer to her table, lowered my voice so only she could hear. "You ruled through fear, but fear only works if people still believe in it. Today, they don't." Then louder, to the room. "This community deserves better. No one should live under threats and bogus fines. Now you all know the truth. Karen has no power here. Not over me, not over any of you." The room erupted. Applause thundered through the clubhouse. Neighbors clapped, laughed. Some even cried. Karen stood frozen, pale as stone. Then she grabbed her folder, papers spilling to the floor, and stormed out. The door slammed behind her. And just like that, the reign of Karen Carmichael ended. Epilogue. Walking back home under the glow of the streetlights, I could still hear the echoes of applause, of laughter, of people finally free. For the first time since I moved there, the neighborhood felt alive. Flags reappeared. Kids rode bikes without fear of fines. Flowers bloomed in colors Karen never approved. I didn't ask for this fight, but it landed on my porch, taped in red ink. And I knew one thing for certain. If you don't stand up to bullies, the kind with rifles or the kind with clipboards, they'll never stop. Karen learned that the hard way, and Lakeside Estates. We finally learned what freedom felt like again, because in the end, Fear only wins if you let it. And on Karen Drama Channel, we don't let it,